So we are here today at Astley House in Warwickshire. This is our beautiful £2.5 million listing. It's fully furnished, got an indoor football pitch, outdoor football pitch. Everything about this home is incredible. We've actually got a viewing in 30 minutes, but what we're doing right now is a bit of an agent's day. So this is something that is really, really beneficial for our clients. The reason I would say this from my perspective as an owner of Luxury Property Partners, it gives my client and our clients so much exposure you wouldn't believe, but also the huge benefit for the agents and especially anybody new, and I wish I had this start when I worked at the previous agency, is they can create their content and they can use it as their own. So it's great for me, it's good for the client, it's good for their agents, and it also gives them a really, really good opportunity to be able to earn some money. So Jake, you've been with us for 6 months now. You worked in a high street agency before. Having agents days like this and everything else we do, what do you think you can see as a difference in the self-employed model with LPP?
So you touched upon it just then. I'd definitely say exposure is a massive one, so benefit to the client. Obviously being independent agents, we all have our own networks. So I think there's a lot of power in pushing out all the properties, all of the Luxury Property Partner listings to all of the agents' networks. It kind of sums up what we do, it making sure that every potential buyer that's out there sees the property, and this is just one of those things that helps to push the property out.
Awesome. And Georgie, we've worked together for 3 years on 2 different brands. You've seen it on both sides of the spectrum. From you as the boss of the company and the assistant, how do you feel this benefits us as a business and the client? What do you see the benefits of things like today as an agent day?
So I think for the client, this means that, Jake is from the Solihull, West Midlands area, Hannah's from Derbyshire, you are everywhere in the UK, but mainly based in Henley. So if all of our agents in the network put out content and good quality content, that's why we give ourselves a day to be able to shoot this properly. It's leaving, like Jake said, no stone unturned, the fact that the buyer could literally come from anywhere. So from the client's perspective, this is something that every client should support their agent in doing. And I think for agents that join the business, Hannah, you're relatively new, you've been here for 4 or 5 weeks now. It's great for you to show your clients you in luxury real estate and properties and getting yourself in these types of houses and being a part of, I suppose, the production side of everything. So how are you finding it, I suppose, as our newest team member?
Yeah, it's actually really useful. I think for someone that's completely new to this company, having a way of getting content out there so people can get to know me, get to know the houses that we sort of list, I think it's really, really beneficial. And you never know what contacts I might have. I might meet people on other viewings that I go on and show them this property, and then there's something they might be interested or someone they know might be interested. So yeah, it's really, really beneficial, and I'm really excited to see this house.
One thing I touched upon yesterday on one of my videos was agents splitting fees. So you don't really see that in this country. Obviously in the US, it's a 6% fee, it's a 3% for the buyers, 3% for the sellers. And this industry in the UK is so different. It's almost a race to the bottom. 1% is the average fee. It's very dog eat dog. It's very bitchy. Even within, I don't want to mention any names, but other companies that I've been involved with and seen, agents fight, don't they? They fight for the listings, they fight for the money between them. But I think what we seem to have created somehow is a really solid team where everybody's very, very supportive, everybody's happy. If there's an opportunity, I know you guys are jumping on listings together. Me and Pierre have done it several times. So collaboration for me is ultimately the most important thing, because yeah, we all care about the money, we want the money, but ultimately, if you look after the client, they're the number one priority. If you look after them, you'll sell their property. If you've got to chop up the money, no problem. But ultimately, if you're going to get referrals from them, that's the best form of business. And I think if you create a solid reputation, a good brand, a good team spirit, and people can see it now. When they look at us, they're like, you guys are killing it. Your team's amazing. Your production's amazing. And I know you were going to ask me a question about the fees, what was your question on the fee?
So the fact that you touched on over in the US, it's like average at 6%. So for anybody out there that thinks 2.5% plus VAT is expensive, what would you say to somebody that, thinks or has the perception of that as expensive?
My opinion would be it is expensive compared to what we're used to in the UK, because a typical agent, if they're going to charge 1%, they take some pictures on their phone or a camera, they'll stick it on Rightmove, they're all going to be on a salary. It's kind of like churn and burn. Let's just sell the houses as quickly as physically possible. and there's no marketing budget. I think with us, I mean, you know, I created 7 videos yesterday, 1.5 minutes long, just touching upon what we do, whether it's social media, direct mail, the magazine, the luxury home show, the world-class productions, the open house, you know, all of these things. But I think the 2.5% is justified with us, and if anything, it should be more. And that's not from an arrogant perspective, but I think I can only manage to take on about 4 properties a month. If I'm taking on a house like this, which is 6,000 square foot, 2.5 million, I've got to drive up here for 2 hours, drive back for 2 hours, 2-hour viewing, all of this marketing we do. There's no way I could do 5 or 6, maybe 10 of these. I've got to stick to 4 or 5. So yeah, the fee is more, but if we're spending 10, 20 grand on marketing, getting a lot more people here, negotiating the price up, it actually ends up being free. Like the one we had on in Henley, he was going to pay somebody 1% at 4 million. We sold it at 4.5 million. So he paid us 90 grand, whatever it was. He netted himself 400,000. So from my perspective, we should be more, but I think the industry is very broken, and we'll get there. We'll definitely get there. It would lead me on to you, because obviously I don't know what you were charging before, but do you see the difference in value between a 1% and a 2.5% agent?
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously being a high street agent for 6 years, average fee was 1%. And I can tell you now, agents in the office would probably spend no more than an hour on each property per week, if that's a push. Whereas now with Luxury Property Partners, because we manage the amount of listings we take on, and it's not about volume, it's about the quality of the listings and making sure we're giving the customer fantastic service. We're spending, you know, upwards of 20 hours a week per property. So just in time alone, the value's there, but then everything that we do in terms of the marketing that we provide, we're marketing experts as well, so that provides massive value. The negotiation, the managing of the client, just the service is just on a completely different level. And my question to the clients would be, what's more expensive, charging 1% to stick a property on Rightmove and not be proactive whatsoever, or charge twice as much but provide a lot more value to that client? And I think the important thing is not what the fee is up front, it's what the client walks away with at the end of the process. And you know, 9 times out of 10, I'm certain that I'll get a lot more than any high street agent. So that's kind of how I justify it in my head.
Yeah, and what I like to say to people if they ever question it is, you live in a house like this, you drive a car like this, you've got a watch like this. If you ever have anything wrong with your teeth, do you go to a cheap dentist, or do you go to, you know, top of the range dentist? If you hurt your back, do you go to the massage parlor down the street, or do you go to a chiropractor? If you're getting a divorce, God forbid, do you go to a cheap solicitor, or do you go to an expensive one because you want things done right? If you're flying, do you go economy or do you go business class? You don't need to pay for any of these expensive things. And then my question always to them is, why do you pay for first class? Why do you do this? I love the service, I love how I feel, I love the, you know, the treatment I get. And I'm like, that's us. That is us. And it's very easy to think this is what I'm used to, this is what it should be, but it's not. And you know, when I'm charging people 2.5%, and I'm used to hearing people, we paid it twice in America, 6% twice. We didn't even question it because that's what it was. But I think it's our duty as, and I hate the words estate agents, but it's our duty to change the industry, to give our clients a better service. And I would say to you, Hannah, obviously you've gone into a few valuations recently, and people are going to give you a bit of a hard time, like, you're new, how can you charge it? Like, if I was a new agent in the industry, I would say use everything that we've got, give them the results to kind of justify your fee. But how does it feel from your perspective walking into a house charging 2.5% as a new agent? Are you nervous, or do you feel like we bring enough value to kind of justify it?
I think at the beginning I was a little nervous, but seeing what we do and how much effort we put into each house and like the whole marketing process, it deserves that 2.5% with the amount of work we put in compared to a high street agent. It's just crazy. Your objection to people like, oh, this other agent is only charging this percentage compared to you guys, why are you so more expensive? And I have to go through the process of what we do and everything we do. And then by the end of the meeting I have with them, they're kind of okay with the price and the percentage, because they realise that how much more we do than estate agents on the high street. And I think, yeah, just in terms of what we do is unparalleled compared to high street agents at the minute.
So, Damion, you touched upon the fact that, now I'm not a big fan of the word culture, but I do think what we have created so far within Luxury Property Partners, and I'd like to hear both of your responses as well, that it's a really supportive network of agents. you know, I'd like to say there's no egos, but actually there is a good level of like egotisticalness in terms of the fact that like we all want big things for ourselves, but we also want that for others. So, you know, as we build this, what kind of character traits do you think somebody has to have? Like, it's a must for them to A, be successful as a self-employed agent, but B, be a part of Luxury Property Partners?
Well, I run a successful business in the US. It was 7-figure business with primetime TV, big billionaire investor. That really that leveled me. It kind of sorted my head out, and it made me realize, yeah, the money's great, but it's more about your wife, your kids, your why. You know, he always said to me, what is your why? What is your drive? What is your purpose? And I'm like, you know, back then in my mid-20s, I was like, it's quite spiritual. I don't really like think about this. It's just kind of like, I want a Lamborghini, I want a big house, I want to do this. But I think now I've got a little bit older and met a lot of these clients, it's like they just want a real person that works hard for them. They want like an animal when it comes to negotiation. They want somebody that's straight with them. If there's issues, tell them. If the house is overpriced, tell them. And I think the billionaire investor in the US, he used to say to me, constantly evolve. And if you think you're at the top of the game, you're not. Like for me, I always say I've not even scratched the surface. I genuinely believe, you know, a lot of people say you're doing really well, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, yeah, that's great, but I want to take it so much further, not from a financial perspective, but because it's so broken over here, it's like this is a challenge for me. And I think going to things like Tony Robbins, like spending 4 days there, watching a lot of podcasts, and I think we've got access to so many things on YouTube at the moment. Even your husband, I've been watching his stuff recently because I'm trying to lose some weight and get in shape, and I'm just watching his stuff, and I'm like, there's so much free content. Gary Vee, Tom Panos, Josh Fegan, like you can watch all of them and you can learn so much. So I think if somebody wanted to be with us, they would need to be open-minded. They'd be willing to learn, to stick on YouTube, educate themselves, learn from the best. And if you think you're at the top of the game, you're not, because somebody is ready to jump on me. I know. I get people calling my clients, I could do better, I could do it. And I'm like, okay, I'm ready for you. And I think that's why doing things like what we do now, like Agents Days and all the other stuff, is super important because we've got to be on the top of our game. So I could talk about it for hours, but I think, you know, somebody who's willing to learn, somebody who's happy to be part of a team. Like we've gone through quite a few agents and we know kind of what's going to make it and what's not. And I would say Jake and Hannah, you can see when somebody's got something special. And I'm always very much do social media every single day, knock on doors, you'll be successful. Both of these guys are doing it. They're both new and they're both getting listing. So that's my answer. Jake, what would be your sort of response?
So I'd say, I think to be successful as an agent, but kind of in any aspect of life, I think 3 things that are really important. I think you need to be really competitive. You want to win at everything, but also not take losses too much to heart, especially in this industry. You can't take it too personally. Number 2, self-development. I think you have to have a focus on constantly improving. We have kind of a philosophy within our business, which is better every day, across fitness, mentality, business-wise. So definitely wanting to constantly improve, because nobody's ever perfect, nobody will ever be perfect, but there's always improvements that can be had. So self-development. And the third one, I think you need an inherent want to just help people, especially in this industry. I think that's really key. And again, across all aspects of business, if you want to take it to the next level of success, you need to help people, because whatever you put in, you will get back out. And I'm not saying to just help people to get it back out, but I think I personally have a desire to just want to help as many people as possible, clients and the team as well. And I think if we all win, our individual success will be more so as well. So it might take a back step initially, helping people, obviously collaborating, you're not getting as much of a fee, but that in itself will bring more business to yourself. So I think those 3 things are really key in an agent.
Yeah, no, and I love that. And it'd be interesting, again, as our newest member, but from my feedback that I've had from quite a lot of conversations and connections that I've had with people that wanted to join the business, is loads of compliments about the way we are perceived, mainly on social media, because that's where people are kind of coming and we're attracting new agents, of the supportive nature, the fact that we're all kind of collaborating together. So Maybe Hannah, if you could touch on maybe what your initial perception was from an outside perspective to now actually being part of the company. Is there anything that has shocked you or surprised you, or been different to maybe what you thought?
Yeah, so I think initially I was a little bit nervous because coming into it and knowing you were self-employed, it is all down to you, getting the listings and putting out the content. But from the first week I joined, Raji messaged me, we met up, she taught me the ropes of door knocking, she helped me creating content, and that was really, really helpful because I was really nervous at the beginning, and as soon as I had a day with Raji and we created content and she showed me the ropes, I just felt so comfortable, and everybody in the company so far has been just so helpful in terms of helping me learn. Like, we've had the calls 3 days a week, which has been really helpful to learn about the process, and Jake's been out helping me, and we've got maybe a listing together as well. So yeah, the team have been really, really good with helping me get better.
I love that. Have you got any questions? Or do you want me to keep?
What time is my view again here? We are right in the middle of, has anybody turned up yet? No. We're going to keep an eye on the gate because we're doing this in between a viewing. But no, I just think it's important for us to, and I think we're going to take a little ad break now to show you the house. Whilst we're here, I'm going to do a bit of a tour of this property because it's an incredible house, isn't it? And I want the guys, whilst we're here, to get their own content, to make some reels, to make some longer form content, talk about the house, because ultimately we're here for the client, right? And we want to do the best by our client, and we're very motivated to be the best of the best, and I think the way we're going to get there is by, well, Tony Robbins says it, doesn't he? Replicating and almost copying the most successful people out there. There's nothing wrong with doing that. And I think, before, where you'd have had to go to the library and read, and you'd have to do this, and you'd have to do, we've got so much access to so many amazing things now that we're learning every day. We are literally, like you said, better every day, and training 3 times a week. And I actually learn a lot. Like Georgie last week has really been stepping up her social media game. She's been, what's Hormozy's wife?
Layla Hormozy.
So Layla, she does some stuff where she kind of walks sideways and talks in front. So we were doing some filming yesterday. It was really weird, but I loved your video, and I was like, I want to do that. And then Hannah was doing stuff in her local town, and I was like, I need to do that. And it's kind of like, again, when you think you're at the top of the game, you kind of lost it. But I think if you're willing to learn from other people, you're basically set. So we're going to take a short advert break now to show you Astley House, and we'll be back shortly. So we've just finished our viewing. We had an offer on the spot. Wasn't quite high enough in my opinion, so I'm going to work on negotiating that one this afternoon. So really successful day, really miserable and rainy and grey out there, but this house still looks stunning. Good to see the team. I know Jake and Hannah have been filming some content. Jake, what did you film today?
So I filmed another property tour to push the property out onto the channel, and some other bits and bobs for my social media. So again, fantastic exposure for the client, pushing out to my network, and also fantastic for building my personal brand. Obviously a property like this, absolutely stunning, shows what I'm all about and what the company is all about.
Yep, same here. I filmed a house tour, and also my favourite things about this house, it's an amazing house, and I can't wait to put the content out and see what response we get.
So Damion, if we have any potential buyers that are looking at this video today, what would you kind of say to them about how they can reach out?
I would say this is not going on the market for the next 6 weeks. We're going to wait until the spring for the client's request. I want to go on now and take advantage of the market because it's pretty quiet, but sometimes you've got to respect their wishes as much as I advise against. But keep an eye on our social media. If you do want an exclusive viewing, please get in touch with any one of us, preferably me, because otherwise we're going to have to give the commission away to the guys. Only joking. But yeah, we want to push this on our socials, and this is a good thing about us. The client comes first. I've driven 2 hours. These guys have driven over an hour. Georgie's driven an hour. We're all here for our clients' benefit. So if you want to buy this house, please get in touch. Check out our website for other properties that we've got. But also, Georgie, our head of recruitment here, if you'd like to be part of our business, then you're the lady to speak to, right?
Yep, you can message me on LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok. My phone number is everywhere and my email address is. So if you are looking to become a luxury real estate agent and you think that Luxury Property Partners is a good fit for you, then reach out and we can book a call.
Thank you for joining us. We're going to probably do this again on another property. We'll see you guys soon.